How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this one I'm going to be giving my top 5 must-have tools if you're going diagnosing or troubleshooting any vehicles. Okay, so first of all, this video is aimed at like a DIY introduction, or if you are upskilling into diagnosing. For those people that are already diagnosing, you're going to have these tools already. But I decided to make this video because there's a lot of information or misinformation about what you must have or what you need to get involved in diagnosing. A lot of people forget about how simple some of the tests can be, and it's more about having the knowledge to apply these methods than having actual fancy tools to be able to do it. So with this list, what I did was I went over a load of my previous jobs in diagnosing, and I went back over what tools that I regularly get pretty much for all my jobs. And for number 5, which I'm going to go into in a second, it was the one that I wasn't sure if I was going to put on the list or not. But when I went back over all of my previous 30, 40, 50 diagnosing jobs and then went back over the last number of years, it's one that I actually have grabbed a lot of times. So with that said, number 5 on this list is a very simple but effective tool. It is a spark tester. So if you're working on diesel vehicles, obviously this is going to be of no use to you, and you may have a different item that works better depending on what you're diagnosing. But for me personally, I've worked on loads of petrol vehicles, gasoline engines, and I have used this item to diagnose spark misfire issues so many times. It's as simple as it comes. It's got a little thread to bring in and out the amount of distance for the spark strength. You're going to hook up your ignition coil or your ignition leads, and you just ground it. So you put the clamp on, and then you can check with the engine running to see if the spark is dead. I've diagnosed intermittent misfires on coils that are under load by using this method as well. So a very simple but effective tool to have in your kit. Straight into number 4. Now number 4 is a fantastic set. It's not one that you necessarily have to have, but once I bought a kit like this, I will never ever go back to not using it. I grab it every single time when diagnosing, and if you're familiar with my videos, you would see these being used all of the time. Number 4 is a test lead kit. Now what you get in a test lead kit is a multitude of different items that will allow speed and ease when doing these component checks. So you're going to get alligator clamps, you're going to get extension leads, which are so useful for testing, back probes, you're going to get resistors, potentiometers, and then just a whole host of different connectors that fit on different pins and different areas of a vehicle that you would be testing. So there is loads of different options in test lead kits. AES Wave has one of the best sets out there, I believe. The one I have, I got from Repco. I got it on clearance. It was very cheap at the time. I ended up buying 2 sets for less than $160 for the both of the sets, and I would highly recommend, if you plan on doing a lot of diagnosing, to get a test lead connector set of some kind. Number 3 on the list, again, is a tool that you can probably get around without having exactly what I'm using, but is a test light. So some type of test light. I recommend using a test light with an actual bulb in it, not an LED type, and one that has a long durable cord. So the one I'm using is an OTC one. It's a very well known brand in the automotive regards to a test light. It's got a nice probe to it, and the clamp is good and strong, and like I said, it's a very durable and long extension cord. That's the reason I've gone for this. This is one of the more expensive type, but again, it's not that expensive, and if you were doing a lot of testing, I would recommend getting a good one rather than one that's very cheap. You can make up your own test lights using headlight globes and kits like that, and they are useful. I've used them myself. It's very good to do like power testing on different circuits by using those 12 volt headlight globes or bulbs that you would be using. So every one of them still has their place. I used to use a park-like globe in a holder for just checking circuits as well, long before I had any of these. But again, if you're planning on getting a test light OTC, this is a very good one that I would recommend. So number 2 on this list is an absolute necessity no matter what level you're currently at. If you plan on doing diagnosing and troubleshooting, more than likely you're going to have an engine light on, or more than likely you're going to want to read some type of data, and you're not going to be able to do that without number 2, and that is a code reader or a scan tool of some kind. The one you go for, it varies for everyone. Some people like different brands, some people like a high level tool, some others like the mid-range, and then just code readers is enough for others. What I will say is, if you plan on diagnosing and advancing, get one that has a good mix of what it can do. So you want it to be able to read all of the information that the modules are doing. So you want to be able to check fuel trims, you want to misfire counters, all of them type of things are very useful information. As you go further and you're checking different modules, the likes of a mid-range tool like this is very good. This is a launch that I use, and in conjunction with a higher level automotive tool, I find this in a workshop environment is fantastic. No one scan tool can do it all, and like I said, there's such a wide variety out there, but if you plan on doing a bit more diagnostically, I would recommend getting a mid-range type of tool. Don't go for your base entry, go for a little bit higher. And if you're not working in a professional environment, I wouldn't recommend going for the high level tools that can do everything. So for example, a quick breakdown of this: read fault codes, it can do readiness, so it can do the monitors. It has all the live data readings that you could imagine. It can communicate with different modules and door modules and marks and beamers and all that. It can also do resets, and what I mean by that is it's able to communicate back to the vehicle and give inputs in. Now that I would have always classed as bi-directional control. So when I was buying scan tools in years gone by, if you could communicate back to the vehicle, that was classed as bi-directional. There is this mid-type of split now, whereas resets on brakes and throttle relearns and battery resets, they're all just classed as resets on these, and a full level bi-directional control is the next scan tool up. And bi-directional control meaning that you could actuate some type of solenoid or close and open an EGR and then monitor what it's doing. So knowing what you need and then going for that in a scan tool is essential, and this launch or similar to it is a very good one for if you are doing work at home, and a lot of it. Something like this will get you out of a lot of trouble. Okay, so we got to number 1, and number 1 is always going to be number 1 in my books, and that is a multimeter. Get asked this question all of the time, whether it's in the comment section or whether it's in the store if I'm dealing with a new apprentice and they're talking about what's the most important tool I need for diagnosing. I want to get involved more, I want to upgrade my kit. Start with the basics. Start with a multimeter, and one that has a certain range of functions. You're going to want continuity, you're going to want resistance, voltage. This one has a temperature reading as well. I don't need that anymore because I have upgraded my kit and I have a infrared thermometer that I use instead, but you can plug in temperature reading and you've got your little cord. And it's just a tool that you will grab over and over again as long as you're diagnosing. A multimeter gets pulled out all of the time. This one here is a VC99. The reason I got this one, it was a knockoff or a replica of a way more expensive Fluke. I looked at YouTube videos back then and I seen that this one was highly recommended. I seen people that stripped them down and thought they were a very good tool for the price. I can verify that because I've had it and I've used it daily over the years, and I've not had one issue with it. Don't know if they still sell them or not. If I can find them, I'll throw in some links in the description, or if there's something very similar to that, I will throw it in there. But having a multimeter, again, to your price range, you can get them for next to nothing, and you can spend a fortune on the likes of these. Over here I have a Fluke. Fluke multimeter, not the most advanced one in the world, but it is a very old one and still does everything that you really need in a multimeter. This is a Fluke 23 Series 2 multimeter. This is rated Cat 2, so it's 1000 volts. And they are very, very good tools. If you're looking for more information on multimeters, there is another channel. His name is Max, Miracle Max, and he is in love with multimeters. He has about 22 or 23 multimeters that he owns, and he will verify how important having a multimeter is in your kit. And that is it from my top 5. Now, multimeter came in number 1, but the most important thing when you're diagnosing, no matter what it is using your head. Doesn't matter what fancy tools that you have, if you don't know how a system works, how it functions, or how you're going to test it, you're not going to be able to solve the problem very easily. So I would always recommend, before investing in these high-level tools, is to have an understanding, and by applying these tools that I'm talking about here and getting to know how systems work, you'll be able to diagnose so much with not a big budget. Of course, a multimeter is not going to do everything, and this list is impossible to cover all of the tools you're going to need on an automotive basis. You have the likes of compression testers, cylinder leak down testers, fuel pressure testers, and then on the electrical side you have the likes of picoscope, amp clamps, smoke machines, etc., etc. The list goes on and on and on. But if you're thinking about getting into it, this is a very good start for you with having these items on this list. But before I go, and if you stayed to the end of this video, you certainly deserve a prize. I'm giving away this snap-on jacket that I'm wearing here. Now, this does not fit me. This is an XL, but this is a giveaway for anyone that's interested. The only thing that you have to do is like this video, subscribe, and comment in the end or anywhere in the comment that you want GBFXD. Put in that in the comment and you're going to enter into a prize draw to win this snap-on jacket. A very, very nice jacket, kindly given to me by another tech called Alex, so shout out to you for donating this to one of the lucky subscribers that's going to win it. And that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything to add in the top 5 that you think I've missed out on, or you go, nope, that's not a list for me, pop it down in the comment section below. I really appreciate any input that you have, and any feedback will be useful to any viewer that's thinking about getting some of these tools. As always, thanks a million for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.